Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be with you today because, well, we are looking at a truly fascinating philosophical framework for mastering modern life. We're going to be unpacking a translated text by Xu Feng titled Unshakable and Following One's Nature. At its core, this text presents this really beautiful dual approach to existence. Think of it kind of like a ship out on the open ocean. You need a heavy, unmoving anchor to keep you grounded, right? But you also absolutely need a flexible, dynamic sail to catch the wind and actually, move forward. We're going to explore exactly how this text tells us to balance those two forces to achieve ultimate spiritual freedom. But before we get into the specifics, I really want you to ask yourself, how do you currently handle life's unpredictability? When the world throws a massive curveball your way, do you dig your heels in and resist? Or do you completely lose your footing? I mean, we live in an era where change is literally the only constant. It can be incredibly overwhelming. And what this source material offers is a highly structured, dual solution to this exact problem, giving us a blueprint for when we need to stand firm and when we just need to completely let go. Okay, let's dive into this. The universe's fundamental dichotomy, as outlined in the text, is split into two forces. On one side, we have the unshakable. These are the eternal truths, the moral constants, the ultimate realities of the universe that remain unchanged for all eternity. On the flip side, we have following one's nature. This represents how all phenomena in the universe actually move and operate, fluidly adapting to the present moment, going with the flow of what the text calls the way, or the Tao. To live a perfected life, the text argues we have to simultaneously master both of these states. Section 1. The Unshakable Foundations. Let's look at the eternal moral constants that the text asserts must never change. The source text actually breaks these unshakable foundations down into distinct categories, which we've organized for you right here. First up, we have what the text calls reverence. This means having an unwavering respect for the greatest creator, for all life, because, as it says, all living beings arise from the very same source. And for nature itself, acknowledging that things like the sun, the moon, mountains, and rivers all possess a spirit that sustains us. Then, moving over to the second category, we see our unshakable duties. These act as our foundational pillars in society. They include filial piety toward our parents, a strict adherence to the laws and regulations of the land to uphold order, and this universal mandate to love others as ourselves, a principle that the text points out was taught by wise sages like Jesus, Buddha, and Laozi. According to the source, no matter what your circumstances are, these specific anchors must remain completely fixed. Now, you might be thinking that these unshakable foundations sound like a super rigid set of rules, but the text is quick to clarify that this isn't just about some kind of stoic, joyless duty. It naturally includes the joys of the human experience. As the text highlights, enjoying affection, whether that's between parents and children, siblings, or friends, is a constant. Furthermore, the text explicitly states that enjoying sexual love remains constant as well, calling it a divine and ecstatic gift. It asserts that it's simply heaven's law to love one another naturally. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate goal of holding on to these unshakable constants, the continuous perfection of life. The text explains that refining one's character remains an unshakable pursuit. It actually outlines 18 different levels of human quality. Beings evolve from basic ignorance, worldliness, and mortality upward to sages and land celestials, then to supercelestial beings, and finally reaching the ultimate levels of gods or Buddhas. By holding firm to those moral constants we just discussed, one continuously climbs toward these much higher levels of existence. Section 2. Following your true nature. We are now shifting the explainer from the heavy anchor to the flowing sail, moving from eternal laws to fluid, daily intuition. To really understand this, we have to look at the text's definition of the way, or the Tao. In our daily actions, the text argues that true intelligence is actually formless. It explicitly advises against depending on logic, reason, past experience, or even scientific experiments, claiming that logical deductions are basically going to fail you more often than not. Instead, we're instructed to rely entirely on inner intuition and spiritual guidance. When you're moving through the world, you shouldn't be overthinking. You should be sensing. You should be feeling your way through. I just love the poetic imagery used in this next part. The source text describes a universe that is literally filled with a boundless heart. It says, like a drop of water in the sea or a cloud in the sky, everything is precisely placed by the way. If you truly follow your nature and rely on that deep intuition, you realize something amazing. You are exactly where you belong.
You're a natural part of the universe's grand design, moving effortlessly in accordance with the way.
Section 3. Navigating life's crossroads. Let's see how we apply this fluidity in high-pressure moments. So the crucial point is how we react when things get tough, right? When we have to make hard choices. According to the framework, when you are at a crossroads, do not rely on your intellect. Listen to the guidance of your inner spirit. Even more drastically, when you're facing a complete dead end, when your back is totally against the wall, the best solution is often to completely abandon your rational overthinking and let your heart guide your next move. And whether you experience massive success or terrible failure, you just have to follow your nature, trusting that blessings often hide within misfortune and that the universe's arrangements are always in your best interest. The text gets incredibly specific here with practical directives for daily living. Let's run through them. When choosing a career, pick what comes easily, because what flows naturally is what's meant for you. If you travel, put down roots wherever the wind blows you. At the ultimate moment of life and death, do not struggle. The text says the more you struggle, the more you suffer. In times of adversity, do not force yourself to exceed your natural limits. When confronting evil, listen to your spirit, whether that means fighting back, or as the text amusingly puts it, retreating like a turtle. Just don't be led by anger or hatred. And in everyday matters, like dealing with the opposite sex, simply embrace your natural reactions without trying to force anything at all. A huge theme here is the total acceptance of your inherent self. The text reminds us that at birth, our nature is already set. Our height, our natural talents, our baseline traits. Just as birds are meant to fly in the sky and fish are meant to swim in the water, we each have our very own specific place. The text warns that if you lose your sense of place, you may actually fall into madness. Therefore, we must never envy the talented or covet the wealthy. The directive is incredibly simple. Mind your own affairs, don't meddle in others, and tend your own field. Section 4. Perfecting your life. Here is the grand culmination of Shufeng's teachings on achieving ultimate spiritual freedom. The synthesis of all this is really powerful. While your daily actions and reactions must be entirely fluid and adaptable, your underlying quest for perfection and spiritual elevation remains completely unmoving. The text uses this beautiful analogy of water cutting through stone. Your daily flexibility is like the water, yielding, soft, adapting to whatever shape it needs to be. But over time, that consistent, unshakable focus on your spiritual journey will cut through solid rock. Every single drop, every single day has an effect. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it perfectly captures the essence of a life well lived according to this philosophy. Eat ripe peaches when they fall, taste apricots when they are ready. Forced fruit is never sweet, and forced paths are never smooth. It is such a profound metaphor for letting your life ripen naturally, instead of stubbornly clinging to outdated rules. Don't rigidly enforce old expectations on your current situation. Life thrives on movement and change, and there is boundless joy to be found in simply letting things happen when they're actually ready to happen. So, we've come to the end of our explainer today, and I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought, based on the source text. Are you ready to stop forcing your path and start flowing with the universe? The text challenges us to build an unshakable moral core, to truly revere life and honor our duties, but to face our daily crossroads, our dead ends, and our career choices with a completely flexible, fluid spirit. It's absolutely a remarkable framework for finding peace in a chaotic world. Thank you so much for joining me as we explored these ideas, and I sincerely hope this helps you build a stronger anchor and a better sail for the journey ahead.